right, hey, welcome into the show this week. Midwest Mike's back for another week. I'm Gary.
This is Austin.
And we're ready to talk a little sports with you. It's a big sports week. Lots went on since we last talked. Indianapolis Colts had a coach, lost a coach, got a new coach. It was a big trade deadline shakeup in the NBA. And Jimmy Garoppolo becomes the highest paid player in NFL history.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff went on this week.
Yeah. KU takes another loss in the Big 12.
KU taking an L. Now, I'm a Missouri fan. They don't affect me as much as I'm in the SEC, but I don't know. They're still a good team. So, like, KU fans, you can see on social media.
Don't panic.
Don't panic. KU fans are freaking out. Would you be – I mean, they're definitely not the favorite to win anything. But, like, if somehow Bill Self made it to the national championship.
No, I mean, I wouldn't
be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be shocked at all. And I still think KU will come out and win the Big 12 for the 14th straight time. I think all streaks come to an end, but I think somehow this year they find a way. I mean, when the worst Kansas team that I can remember, I mean, in at least 10 or 12 years, is going to be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, I mean, that's still pretty good.
And I don't know the roster really well. You might know it better than me. Do they have anybody on there that's going to the NBA next year? I mean, does he have any NBA guys?
I mean, no, he's got some older guys this year. As far as one and dones, I'm not sure. I don't follow that closely enough, but I mean, I know, they're still playing well. I mean, if it's hard to win your conference multiple years in a row, I mean, let alone they've done it 13. This would be 14, setting the all-time record. I mean, nobody else has ever done that. They're tied with UCLA right now. So, like I said, I mean, you win your conference, that's really good. I mean, they're still going to get, I'd say at minimum, a 2 seed, and I still think they pull it out and end up winning the Big 12.
I'll tell you what, it's going to make that Big 12 tournament really, really fun. And the Big 12 is really good this year in basketball.
It is.
They got a ton. I mean, they have a lot of top 25 teams. I mean, Texas Tech really came out of nowhere to me.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see here. Let me see how many teams they got.
I mean, K-State was up there for a minute.
Yeah.
As far as a top team in the Big 12. You got Oklahoma, which Oklahoma lost at Iowa State. I can personally tell you how tough of an Iowa State Hilton Coliseum is for opponents. I've been to a bunch of games there, and, I mean, those fans are loud, they're rowdy, and they're ready to go. I mean, that's a tough place to go into and win. Even, back 15 years ago, I would go to games at Hilton Coliseum when Kansas was a 1 or 2 or 3 team in the country, and they would go up there and take it out just because Iowa State fans are so crazy and Iowa State can shoot the ball.
And they travel good. They'll be up in that tournament like crazy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really cool. I would say if you could get your hands on any of those tickets, shoot, I'd say go for it.
Yeah. Hey, if anybody wants to sponsor Midwest Mike's and send us to the games, we'll break them down for you.
Yeah, if anybody wants to send some free tickets our way, I'll go for that.
Yeah,
in a
definitely.
heartbeat. So, but yeah, that's college ball. Your number one team is still, your number one team now is Virginia. Nova's 2. But yeah, I mean, it's college ball is coming, man. It's gonna be awesome. So,
March Madness is definitely gonna be a good time. The tournament kicks off with the play-in games like on Tuesday, March 13th. And then your actual first round games start on the 15th and then the 16th. So
yeah, the cool thing is I think we'll be at Ugly Joe's one of those days. I'll be there one of those days watching the games. I don't know if I'll do 2 days this year, but I'll definitely do one.
We'll be up there hanging out, have a big group, and who knows, maybe do a live show.
That'd be pretty fun. I don't know. Background noise might be a little crazy, but we'll see what happens.
But yeah, hey. We'll do it, maybe. So moving on, talk a little NBA here. Huge trade this week. Cleveland actually did multiple trades. Cleveland ended up getting 4 players: George Hill, Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, and Larry Nance Jr. They gave up Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Channing Frye, Dwayne Wade, Iman Shumpert, Derrick Rose, and they gave up their 2018 first-round pick to get those 4 players. So, I mean, initially, what are your thoughts on that trade?
So I'm a huge LeBron fan, and so I really was paying attention to this. The Cavaliers, really what they were going for was to get – what they did really was they got rid of guys that really wanted a ton of minutes, and they got a whole bunch of little role player guys. But George Hill is a legit starter at point guard, but they basically got younger and faster, and it sure showed today. They beat down the Celtics. Do you have the score of that game?
I don't have the score of that game.
They put those guys on a beatdown, and the Celtics they had their squad out there. It wasn't like the Celtics sat anybody. Kyrie was out there, all those guys, and they put a beating on them. Let me see what that score was.
121-99.
121-99. So that was at Boston, and that's at Boston on a day they were
honoring Paul Pierce.
They retired Paul Pierce's jersey. Garnett was in the building. I saw Rondo was in the building, and I don't think Ray Allen wasn't there because those guys aren't. I don't think they're getting along for some reason.
Yeah,
but the Cavaliers dominant, and if you go through the stat line, basically everybody that got into the game contributed something, points, whatever.
George Hill, kind of the scouting report on him is that he's a great defender. He's got 10 NBA seasons under his belt. He is third in the league in three-point shooting at 45.3%.
Pretty good. And for a guy that's, he still is kind of a role player, but the defense is going to help because Isaiah Thomas was trash at defense.
Yeah.
I think I've heard metrics saying he was the worst in the league, the whole league.
Yeah,
terrible.
So if you got a guy that's a great defender, obviously I'm a firm believer. NBA they don't play defense till June, but if you got a guy that can lock somebody down, I think everybody in the NBA is playing catch up to Golden State Warriors.
Yeah,
and if they can get a guy that maybe can possibly defend Steph Curry in the finals, then you got to make that move.
For sure, and I think I don't want to say anything, but the clear favorite for still is Golden State to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
The roster's too good. I still think LeBron's the best player in the NBA, but you could also, you could argue that Durant is, and he has the numbers to back it up. But and then Curry, you got Curry as a 3, probably the third best.
Yeah.
Some people may argue Harden, or Westbrook, but. Golden State's still a favorite, but I think the favorite in the East, especially after what we saw today, the favorite in the East still is Cleveland.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
LeBron will turn it up a notch in the playoffs. He does it every year. But this guy almost is averaging. I don't know what his average is this year, but he almost had another triple-double today. LeBron was 24, 8, and 10. Pretty good. So
yeah, Rodney Hood. From reports I was reading, he is the piece with the most potential. This year he was averaging kind of 16.8 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, 1.7 assists. He's getting about 28 minutes a game.
So put this in the new look Cleveland team. He played 19 minutes today, and then he still hit that line. So if he had 15 points, 3 rebounds, no assists, 3 for 6 on 3-pointers. 6 for 11 on field goals, so he was super effective.
Yeah, so with less minutes, still kind of had his points and his rebounds. So
in a game against Boston too, LeBron only had to play 28 minutes. He actually played less minutes than J.R. Smith.
Well, hey, and if you can beat people the way you are at this time of year and rest LeBron a little bit, that's a good combination for the Cavaliers.
NBA is it's pretty much get to the playoffs and then go.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Jordan Clarkson. He was 3 seasons in LA. He was never less than 10 points per game average in his 3 seasons. He's averaging about 14 and a half points this year, 3.3 assists and 3 rebounds.
He'll be coming off the bench, so he'll still keep that role-playing thing.
Yeah.
The starter price still is J.R. Smith, but they can also rotate who they start at shooting guard because they can start Hood, they can start Clarkson. But yeah, the team's looking good again. Cavaliers are all happy now. Got rid of the old guys. Got rid of Thomas.
Definitely went a lot younger. Larry Nance Jr. Again, he's a finisher. He has, in shots under 3 feet, he is 72.2%.
So he's like it down. So he probably takes it. He's not a big man, but he takes it to the.
Yeah, he's not a big man, but he finishes when he's close, and you got to have guys like that on your team that when they're within 3, 4, 5 feet of the basket can finish.
Yeah. So I'll say, I mean, it's pretty fast to jump to conclusions, but my gut's telling me we're going to get another Cleveland Golden State Finals. Very different looking Cleveland team, same looking Golden State team. Golden State probably still wins, probably 4-1, 4-2. I'm a big LeBron fan, so I should be, saying LeBron's going to take it and that. But I mean, I don't know. NBA is going to get really interesting from here on out, especially with all the trades. So,
yeah, I mean, huge. I mean, I'm not a big NBA guy, but even this week I was kind of following those trades, and all that news kept breaking kind of all day on the trade deadline. And it's like every time I turned around, I was getting another alert. From ESPN saying the Cavs traded this guy and got this, and the Cavs did this. So I definitely like the aggressive moves at the trade deadline.
So you have to, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of. We know right now we're not good enough to compete with Golden State, so we've got to do something to compete with them.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of, especially in the NBA, if you're not competing, go ahead and get rid of those guys that are on the last year of their contract. Why pay them? Get something back for them, because they're going to walk away and you ain't getting nothing for them. So go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. The Lakers did a really good job. The Lakers sent those 2 guys over there, and the Lakers next season will have, I think it's $69 million cap space, which is 2 max deals. And I think Magic Johnson's going to go for LeBron, and I think he's going to go for Paul George.
Yeah.
So will LeBron go to LA? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He probably would like playing for Magic and them, because I think LeBron's going to look for a team that has a solid front office, and that would be Magic, big time business guy. So I don't know. Interesting stuff went on in the NBA.
Yeah, definitely an interesting week. Do you think Isaiah Thomas has a good rest of the season in LA, or
you know what,
he'll struggle?
You know what, he actually, I think he got a start already, and let me see here. He did. They lost to Dallas, so it's
that's
whatever.
A bad loss because Dallas is not very good this year.
But he didn't start, but he played 31 minutes and he had 22 points, a rebound, and 6 assists. So I mean, like he had a pretty decent game, but he didn't fit with LeBron.
Yeah, he didn't.
And so, I mean, he didn't fit with LeBron, and that's that. So,
and me, I mean, I kind of thought when he went to Cleveland, my thought was, is there enough basketballs for both of those guys?
Yeah, because Isaiah Thomas wants to be the guy. He wants to handle the ball all the time, and really, LeBron really wants the offense to flow through him.
Yeah.
And he's going to get that now. We talked about that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's going to be LeBron and Kevin Love, and then a whole bunch of pretty good role players.
Yeah.
And that might be what he needs more than being on the super team.
Yeah.
So that's like that. That'd be like next year if he goes to LA. They get Paul George. They'll still have Lonzo Ball. They'll still have some Kuzma. They'll still have all those young guys. Not bad.
And LeBron can be the veteran, kind of the leader.
Yep.
Let things flow through him.
Yep.
And kind of still control the narrative and get some things done and still be pretty good.
And there's one more dark horse that's mentioned sometime, occasionally, outside chance of getting LeBron. It'd be really interesting to see him go to Philly and play with like Ben Simmons and play with Embiid, because they're not paying those guys anything because they're on their first deal. I think they might be paying Embiid pretty decent, but a lot of those guys are on their first deals. And so LeBron with a bunch of young, talented guys, it'd be fun to watch. So
yeah. So, now's the time of year where NBA really gets interesting after the trade deadline going forward.
Yep.
Those teams that are trying to get into the playoffs. I mean, you kind of know your top 2-3 teams in each conference, but those teams fighting for a playoff spot. And, so it's going to be interesting coming down the stretch here and getting to the playoffs.
Yep, that's for sure. So
next kind of big piece of news. Jimmy Garoppolo signed a 5-year, $137.5 million contract, getting $90 million in the first 3 years. So